Why is that live? All right. We are live once again, and we're going to finish our microscope investigation of my syncretic shamanic syncretization of the spell of the 9 knots. And today we're going to focus on the eastern direction. So if you're unfamiliar, if you haven't been watching these spell of the 9 knots videos, what I've done is I've syncretized an ancient, based on my research, an ancient traditional magical spell of Anglo-Saxon England, pre-Christian, and I have combined that with connection with the 9 worlds of the pre-Christian Germanic world tree, and we're going to be using the what I call the thunder wheel, which is some people, if you want to, you can call it a medicine wheel. Where is it? There it is. So it's an 8-sided directional wheel, and I'll briefly go over each one of the directions. You can go up here to courses.thunderwizard.com. I have books and DVDs on thunder shamanism where I go into depth on each of the 9 worlds and how that fits in the medicine wheel, the thunder wheel, the 8 directions in the center. And we're going to be also connecting that with the rune wheel. So the rune wheel is, we take an Ayashomer, which is a symbol for protection from negativity. And what I've done is I've simply pasted the runes on there. Again, go here to courses.thunderwizard.com, and I have 3 rune books. The one that deals with the rune wheel is Advanced Rune Shamanism. So I won't get into all of that, but we are combining all of these things into this very powerful spell for manifestation called the spell of the 9 knots. So I'm looking for my rune wheel. Where is it? It's got to be up here somewhere. There it is, rune wheel. So what we've done is we've just simply taken the 24 runes of the Elder Futhark. Since they're split up into sections of 3 sections of 8, we just simply place them right on the rune wheel. Fehu there is in the north, Hagel is in the north, Tiuaj is in the north there. And for this spell, I am suggesting that people use the first 8 when they use all of the 8 directions with the spell. And the reason for that is my experience of the runes is that they're incredibly powerful. I don't mess around with them unless I'm dead serious about doing things in my life. Now, not everybody's like me. I know that there are people who get up and chant the whole Elder Futhark every day, and it doesn't affect them in the same way it does me. I don't know if that's because I'm less advanced or more advanced. I really don't care. All I know is that I know my limitations. So the first 8, in my experience, is about manifestation on the physical realm, which everybody needs. So it will change your unconscious patterns having to do with physical manifestation, but it's something we all need, so it's kind of more user-friendly. You start getting into the second 8, Hagel, Nauthiz, Isa, Yera, that's psychological transformation on a big-time level. So I don't even touch those runes unless I am prepared to go through major psychological transformation. And then the spiritual runes, Tiwaz, Berchtana, Ehwaj, Manaj, Laguj, those are spiritual in nature. And so that, similar to the psychological transformation, in my experience, can be very powerful. So I don't mess around with that unless I'm dead serious about wanting, and I'm prepared to have my whole life completely upended. So we're going to be talking about the spell of the 9 knots. We're going to be using the rune wheel. We're going to be using the shamanic thunder wheel, the medicine wheel, the 8 directions, and the 9 worlds. And so let's get to the spell itself. So, whoops, that's not what I want. I want this. So here's the spell. By the way, before I go any further, This, I teach the entire um, ritual, spell ritual. If you go to thunderwizard.com, that is my Patreon page. It is a subscription page. And in the Manifestation Mastery course, I just today uploaded the second 54, the video Manifestation Mastery course 54B. I just uploaded that, where I don't go into too much detail like I am now about the philosophy and everything, what works. I just tell you, here is a version of this syncretized ritual, the spell of the 9 knots. So if you want to just cut straight to that, you can go to thunderwizard.com and subscribe to the Manifestation Mastery course. As I said, I do have DVDs, courses.thunderwizard.com, of the spell of the 9 knots, the traditional, where you actually take a thread and you make some knots and you bury it in the ground and all that. I still have that, and that is this next level at the thunderwizard.com site is like a next level up from that, where you take that same basic idea that I have there, but this time we add the runes to it. So anyway, there's that before we go any further. So the spell itself, spell of the 9 knots. All right, so the way, if you go looking for the spell of the 9 knots online, you might find different versions of it. This is the one that I found that works best for me, and who knows, how they said it back then, when they were speaking Old English, but it still works today in modern English, and these are the best. This is the best translation that I found that I use. Excuse me while I drink a little protein here. All right, now I'm a little more nourished. So, the spell simply goes: 1, it has begun. 2, it shall come true. 3, it comes to me. 4, I open the door. 5, it comes alive. 6, my words are fixed. 7, by the stars of heaven. 8, release my fate. 9, it shall be mine. You can see next to each one of those I have a direction to face. So you can see you're going in a clockwise fashion in the medicine wheel, the thunder wheel. And that is because each one of the 8 directions deals with one of the worlds of the world tree. You are already standing, you already live in one of them. It's called Middle Earth, Middle Yard, the Middle Fortress, literally. You live in the Middle Fortress, and that would be in the center of the medicine wheel. You're right there in the center. And all these other worlds, which are directions, the energies of those worlds are coming to you. Now, let me say to you that this is not arbitrary. What I've found, one of the reasons why I am not a follower of modern Western magic isn't because I don't think that there's value to it or that it's powerful. I know that there is and that it is. One of the reasons I don't is because one of the things that modern magicians, and this has spilled over into rune masters. So there are rune masters out there. I won't name any names. If you're into the runes, you would know 2 or 3 of them that I would mention, who have books and are looked upon as, the heathen source for runes. They will tell you that runic magic is arbitrary. Now, they may not use that word. They would probably hem and haw if they heard me say that they believe that, but the truth of the matter is that's what they believe. And they take this from modern Western magic. Chaos magic uses this, where you create a sigil and you arbitrarily apply a significance to that symbol, and you arbitrarily apply your intent to it. And so they believe this about the runes. In fact, I won't mention the guy's name. He has 0 historical reference for it, but he states as fact that the original rune masters who came up with the runes loaded the runes with the intent of the meaning of them, and so it's good to know what their original intent was for the meaning of the runes, because then you will be in alignment with the first rune masters. But if you have a different understanding and load a different meaning onto the rune, you will get a different thing, which is why Western magic is so intellectualized, and this came from Christianity. Christianity was an intellectual religion. You have to believe in Jesus. You have to accept and believe in Jesus. If you don't, you won't be saved. It's got nothing to do with anything practical about your essence, your actions, your worth, your effect on the world. None of those things matter. In fact, I'll tell you that's all works, and works is meaningless. The only thing that matters is grace. And what that means is the arbitrary choice of Jehovah to decide to save you because you have arbitrarily chosen to believe that Jesus is the Son of God. If you don't have that intellectual belief, God the Father will reject you. It's all arbitrary and it's all intellectual. So this has transferred down because, post-Christian Western magic is still based on that. A lot of Western magic has all of the angels, of the Old Testament. Now again, I'm not saying none of that it doesn't work. It does, but it's very intellectualized. So that means modern people who have a background in Western magic, when they decide they want to become heathens and they start playing around with runes, they just make the assumption, because they don't have any other experience, that runes are arbitrary like chaos magic, and you have to load them, and you are responsible to put your intention in them in order for them to have meaning. And I'm here to tell you that is a incomplete understanding. Our ancestors did not believe that at all. The runes are independent. The runes independently live in the universe. They do not need our ascension to have their meaning. The runes were not invented, they were discovered. And so the reason that I know this is because the Futhark is a completely different order than any other Western alphabet. So if academics were correct and the Futhark, the runes, were simply the Germanic tribal people's attempt at creating an alphabet and learning how to read and write like the Romans, then we would have the same alphabet as the Romans do, because the Romans, Greeks, even the Hebrews have the same alphabet. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta. A, B, C, D, it's that same thing. So if it was just these tribal Germanic mercenaries going and taking an alphabet, they would come back with A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They don't. It's Futhark. So this means that this is an indigenous tradition within the Germanic people, and probably, I would imagine, it goes all the way back to Ice Age times. I believe that's when it was first discovered, and they discovered that there were 24 principles that the universe operated from, and they created a verbal oral tradition because in their language they could isolate 24 sounds and syllables that they used to speak with. And so they looked at what is the power within each one of those sounds and symbols. This is what shamanism is. Shamanism is not arbitrary. You don't make it up. And so when I work with these syllables, it's very clear to me that they are powers in the universe that have independent existence, independent of my estimation of them. So what we do is we take the Elder Futhark, which is this, Futhark, Gebo, Wunjo, these first 8. You can't see my cursor, I'm using my cursor. The first 8 there on the top, we use that, and we just simply place them on top of the medicine wheel. In this case, we're using, instead of using a thunder wheel, we are using the Eyjolfur. So we just simply take the runes and we place them on top of that. And there you have all 3 8s there. So we're dealing with the first 8, Futhark, Gebo, Wunjo. And today, as I said, we're talking about the East. So forgive me for talking in circles there. So the spell of the 9 knots. 1, it has begun. 2, it shall come true. 3, it comes to me. and this we're facing east. So before we go any further, let me give you a brief outline of the 9 worlds and where they sit in the medicine wheel. Sorry, forgive me, I can only do one thing at a time. So there's your medicine wheel, there's your 8 directions. In the top there you have the north. The north is the realm of the primordial waters. The element is water. And this, by the way, as I've said before, is found in multiple pre-Christian traditions. You find it with the Taoists. You find it with the Vedics. And you find it also in the mythology of the Norse. The Norse will tell you that the north is the direction of the waters. This represents unmanifested reality. The closest we can get to Gununga Gap is the north, the unmanifested reality. One, it has begun, face the north. And the second one, the northeast, is Asgard, the highest ether element. It's sort of like steam. It's the combination of water and ether. You have the highest ether element. It's the highest vibration in the universe. And this is the fortress of the celestial deities. 3, which is what we're going to be talking about today, is in the east. The eastern direction is Jotunheim. Jotunheim represents the giants. The giants represent identity that is expanding. The giants are very narcissistic. That's why they're so destructive. That's why Thor goes and fights them. By the way, that noise is my washing machine. So if you're wondering what the hell that weird noise is, my washing machine going on. I didn't think about that when I did this. Anyway, so the east is Jotunheim, expansive ego energy. This is why Thor goes off in the east. He is himself a giant, but he is also celestial deity. And so he fights against narcissism. Basically, that's what evil is. Evil is, I'm more important than you, you're an object, you're there for my pleasure, and I don't care about you, and I'll kill you and use you, or whatever it is. So Thor goes to defend the boundaries of psychological identity. So we say 3, it comes to me. Me, I have an identity, it's coming to me. By the time you get to the east, you've manifested enough in a limited form that you have an ego, you have a self. 4, I open the door. This is in the southeast. The southeast is the realm of the human mind. Manaj is the rune. By the way, Thurisaz is the rune for the east. Manaj is the rune for the southeast, which is the mind, which is the moon, which is human beings. And this is the dwarf home. Dwarves represent psychological aspects of the human psyche. We won't get into that, but that's what they are. They are that. They don't represent that. They are that. 5, it comes alive. In the south, we have the fire element. Fire element, and this represents action. It represents energy. It represents drive, commitment. Mars is sitting here in the south. And here we have it comes alive. You know, things only take, life when you take action to achieve them. 6, my words are fixed. Your words create your reality, as does not your thoughts. Thoughts are random, not your feelings. Feelings are reactions. If you indulge in your thoughts and your feelings and you create beliefs and take action on those beliefs, then your thoughts become reality. But your reality is based on what you choose to believe. And when you speak that into existence, your words are fixed into the fabric of the web of weird. The web of weird is past, present, and future. You are always in the ever-present now. There is no past, there is no future. Whenever you choose to believe something, whenever you indulge in something to take action on it, whenever you apply value to a thought or a belief, it then goes into the past and it becomes the origins from which your future must arise. This is 6, my words are fixed. In the southwest, the underworld. 7, by the stars of heaven, the west, the home of the Vanir. These are the gods of space-time, of wisdom, of fertility, of human experience. They're the grandparents of the universe. That's why they're called the elder gods. Not because they've been around longer than the Aesir. That's nonsense. They simply live in space-time, so they have experience. The Aesir are children. They live in the ever-present now. They've never lived in space-time. They see everything black and white as children do. They also have the purity of children. That's why there's no evil there. That's why they live in a fortress. There's only two fortresses in the 9 worlds. There's the middle fortress, which is where we live. If we didn't have a fortress around us, just like our planet has an atmosphere and a magnetosphere, if we didn't have that, we would get pulverized and destroyed by all kinds of, solar radiation, not to mention all kinds of planetary bodies would constantly be smashing into us. So we live in the middle fortress. The gods live in the fortress of the celestial deities. They live in Asgard, the fortress of the celestial deities, because they do not want their timeless perfection destroyed, so they build a fortress around to protect themselves. So that is 7 by the stars of heaven. The Vanir live in space-time, and they have a strong connection to the 7 stars of the Big Dipper. Very powerful, magical thing, the Big Dipper. There's a whole tradition and practice about how to use the Big Dipper to do all kinds of magical things. So they have a connection to that. By the 7 stars of the Big Dipper, 7 by the stars of heaven. This is in the western direction. 8, release my fate, in the northwest. The elves, the ascended masters of the human race, who have gone beyond even the gods and are ready to merge into infinity. And they look back to the human race and help the human race become like they are. The elves are only interested in you becoming like they are. Whenever you go to the elves and you ask something from them, they think about how does that apply to you becoming an ascended master. And they focus on only those things that help you to achieve that. And they will always tell you how your actions affect everything and everybody else in the universe. They will never give you a lesson that doesn't also make you aware of the effect of your thoughts, your actions, your feelings, your intentions. That's how they deal. Your fate is to become one of them. So when you say 8, release my fate, you are asking for the elves to bring you to your highest awareness. 9, all of the 9 worlds were back in the center. The 9th is you're facing north again, but you're really in the center. And you say, it shall be mine. And you are taking all of the 8 powers and all of the beings of the 8 powers who are going to work towards bringing your intention into manifestation, and you are bringing it into your body. 9, it shall be mine. Today we're talking about 3. It comes to me. We face the east. The eastern direction. The eastern direction is the direction of the identity. It is the direction of the identity. This is why, as I said earlier, this is the realm of the giants. The giants walk around and they pick people up and bite their heads off, and they step on people indiscriminately, and they're just these big forces. There's different kinds of giants in the Norse tradition. There is Jotuns, and there are Thurisaz. Thurisaz are the giants like trolls. Trolls are Thurisaz. They cause damage. They're monsters. You have to be careful of them. And the reason for that is because they represent ego that has no limitation. That's why it's a giant. Giant is expansion. The element for the east is ether. Ether is the element of expansion. The planet that is associated with the east is obviously the sun. The sun represents the ego. And when you worship the sun in the east, what you are doing is you are seeking to make your self part of the big self. One of the ancient words for the sun was Sawal. And the rune for the sun is Sawal. Interestingly enough, Sawal in the rune wheel is actually part of the in the elf home, and I believe one of the names for the sun is something like the elves' plaything. It tells you that your spiritual nature is what the elves are most interested in. But Sawal, the rune Sawal, Sawul, is the ancient spelling of the word soul, Soul. We are so disconnected from the meanings of this word that we don't realize that when we use the word soul, we're actually saying sun, S-U-N. Sunna is the name of the goddess, but the name of the actual disk in the sky is Sawul. Soul. It is the soul. You have a sun, which is your spirit. Your spirit is a shining light. I know because I've been there. I've seen the essence of my soul, which is the same as yours. And it is a blinding white light that is filled completely, exists, and consists of nothing but absolute orgasmic joy. That is your true essence, the Sawul. So we have a human ego, self, and so when we face the east and we worship the sun, what we're seeking to do is to connect our small Sawul to the big Sawul. We're trying to work through our ego. When we get too wrapped up like a thirst in our own identity, then we become narcissistic. So this is why the rune Thurisaz is associated with the eastern direction, not Sawul, because the elves have mastered the full expansion of the true spiritual self. So that's why Sawul is in, I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. Am I right about that? Where is the rune wheel? Yeah, Sawul, right up there in Elfholm. So in the east we have Thurisaz. Thurisaz is, as I said before, is Thor's rune of protection. And it protects us. Why does it protect us? It protects us because when somebody seeks to do harm to us, they are not respecting our boundaries. When you steal from somebody, when you physically harm them, when you take advantage of them, when you lie to them, you are not valuing their essence, you're not valuing their boundaries. Thorn is another word for it because, you know, when you, a rose has this protective thing which keeps it from being, you know, ideally from being attacked, and so it grows these thorns, and when you grab onto it, the thorn cuts you and you let go. The rose is trying to protect itself. And this is what Thurisaz is. This is why Thor, this is his rune. Because that's not his only rune, but his name, Thunar, Thurisaz. It's the same being I'm talking about. And so when we focus on the third aspect of the spell, 3, it comes to me, we are now bringing ourselves through the process of manifestation. So talking through this spell, by the way, it brings things into manifestation. Sorry about that. Brings things into manifestation because it tells us how energy manifests in the universe, and it goes through these 9 processes. First, it begins. It begins in the void of the waters of the north, and then it becomes true, meaning it starts to take essential. It starts to come into essence, and so the gods give it an essence. It becomes true. It will happen. 3, it comes to me. Now our identity is created. 4, I open the door. The door is the third eye. The third eye to be able to manifest and intend your reality. This is the door that is opened. 5, it comes alive. You open the door, you send out your intention into the universe. It starts to take a life of its own. Did you know that emotions have lives? This is why, when I used to do exorcisms, a long time ago, when I used to do exorcisms, I would command and by the way, the vast majority of people that think they're possessed are not possessed. Vast majority of them are not. But I have actually seen the kind of stuff you see in the movies, where people's completely change, they turn into completely different things. Their eyes change, their voice changes, they start speaking in other languages, their projectile vomit, things flying around in the room. The only thing that I haven't seen is somebody their head spin around. I've seen everything else. But whenever I would command the demon to give me his name, which gives me power over it, they were always a human psychological force. Greed, fear. These were the demons, which is an emotion. Which means that your emotions, when you indulge in an emotion, whatever it is, it takes on a life of its own. This is why, people who are really, really psychologically disturbed, one of the reasons that they're so dangerous is that they can actually create and release these negative spirits into the world. When somebody dies at that level of dysfunction, all of those emotions squirt out into the world and they become ghosts, they become demons, they become evil spirits. So, I don't know where that came from. I forgot what I was saying. In any case, so that's what we're working on today. And when you do the spell of the 9 knots and you're facing the east and you say 3, it comes to me, you are bringing yourself you're actually creating a timeline. The thing about the spell of the 9 knots is that it creates a new timeline. You're always constantly, with all of your beliefs, remember, you listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying your thoughts or your feelings. With all of your beliefs and your choices, you are creating new timelines for yourself. This is why if you're a victim and you're constantly complaining about how this doesn't work and that and this and that and my life is different and you don't understand, you keep creating these timelines where you get to live that crap out. So the spell of the 9 knots is a way to say, okay, I accept that I have been creating timelines that aren't working to my highest happiness, so I'm going to create a new one. This is what this ritual can do for you. This is why it's so powerful. And this is why, for me, it's not just saying, 1, it has begun, 2, it shall come true, 3, it comes to me. You align it with the 9 worlds and the 8 directions and with the first 8. So when we get to 3, we say, 3, it comes to me, Thurisaz. You're putting a spell of protection around your intention, because now you're going to give your intention life. You're going to give it a life. Shamanism is about balance. Shamanism is not the reason why I identify as a shaman is because a shaman seeks to achieve a dynamic balance in the universe. A shaman does not seek to become righteous and become good. A shaman does not seek to have God forgive him or love him. A shaman doesn't seek to become enlightened and prove to the world. A shaman doesn't seek to do that. A shaman seeks balance. Before there was this whole idea of salvation and enlightenment, the Christian and the Buddhist, there was no understanding of becoming perfected or being free of evil. In polytheism, the gods are neither good nor bad. You have the Devis and the Asuras, you have the Aesir and the Vanir. Neither are good nor bad. Odin himself, the king of the gods, is seen as a dangerous being if you don't catch him in the right light. Wizards were mysterious people that could do something positive or negative. That's why in fairy tales, which is the last remnant of folk stories that were connected to our pre-Christian shamanic understanding. In fairy tales, you can have good witches and bad witches. And by the way, that's the reason why it's the Wicked Witch of the West. It's not the Wicked Wizard. It's the Wicked Witch because our ancestors understood that the feminine was far more powerful than the masculine, and that when the feminine became disconnected from the source, it was dangerous. Not to say that wizards couldn't be dangerous, but now Lord of the Rings, the big one is the wizard, the Sauron, the masculine. But that's not truly traditional. If it was, if Lord of the Rings were written 2,000 years ago, Sauron would be a woman, would be a witch, wouldn't be a man, because the feminine is very powerful. So shamanism is about this balance, to achieve balance. It's a dynamic universe. There's never this placid. There's always something that is seeking to change, that could potentially go out of balance. So the shaman is there to create balance and to channel the powers of the universe to help create a connection between the human realm and the non-human realm. And this is what this spell is talking about. It's creating, and it's using all of these different forces to create. Creation is not, creation is an intense experience. I mean, think about it. The way that you get, you get impregnated is through this really intense experience, hopefully, this intense experience of sex, where there's all this friction and there's all this movement and there's all this breathing and this intensity, and people make funny faces and they make all kinds of noise, because it's this intense thing that's going to create life. It's not. That's a modern misunderstanding of how reality works, and it's a denial, because people actually, what Christianity did is it made people feel shameful about their power. And so anything that has power, including emotions, is seen as evil. And this is why people are constantly asking me, how can I control my emotions? How can I overcome my emotions? And I say, who said you were supposed to control them or overcome them? Have them, and then take conscious action. Or somebody who has a lot of power can have all kinds of intense feelings, and then they have the ability to accept all those feelings and go, what action do I want to take? Thor is seen as this very reactive person. I remember, it's on there, if I look for it, I could find it. I won't mention his name, the guy who's seen as the Pope of the heathen community, a racist guy. He won't tell you he's racist, but he is. And he talks about, I just got a twinge, I shouldn't say that about him. He comes across very racist to me, whether he realizes it or not. That's how I hear him. He may not see himself that way. But he was talking about the gods, and he was doing some lecture like he was the Pope of, Norse paganism. And he was talking about the god Thor, and how the god Thor didn't think very much, and he didn't have, he was very reactive, and he had a temper, and he was like a bull in a china shop. And I almost came out of my skin. Here's this guy who is seen as the representative of Germanic polytheism, modern Germanic polytheism, and he doesn't even know the main god, Thor and Odin, one of the two main gods. Thor is the most constructive individual in the universe. He doesn't have to wait before acting, because he is the lightning god. But he is incredibly smart and self-aware and patient. And we know this from the myth of Allwise. Allwise is a dwarf that comes to Thor and wants to marry Thor's daughter. And Thor says, oh, great, well, let's talk about it for a while. And he spends the whole night asking the dwarf questions because All-Wise knows everything intellectually. He's been to all of the worlds and he understands everything about how the universe works, and he explains in detail, because he has pride. He has a lot of pride in his knowledge, and he explains in detail how all of the beings and all of the 9 worlds function and what they call things. And he keeps him talking until the sun comes up, and the sun comes up and hits him, he turns into stone. Now, you can't have that kind of strategy if you are just a bull in a china shop. A person who has that kind of patience and strategy is somebody who has control of their feelings. Control in the sense of feels all of them. We see that because he reacts very instantly whenever there is any kind of destructive force. He lashes out. He has no hesitation to take his hammer and smash the head of a giant. That doesn't mean that he's impulsive. It means that he is so pure, he doesn't have to think before he acts. The rest of us, we need to think before we act most of the time. So that really bothered me when I heard that. This is the entity that you are dealing with when you face the East. He says, he's teaching you that the way to get through life and to protect yourself is to have all of your feelings, to minimize nothing, to have all of your anger, all of your fear, all of your sadness, all of your joy, all of your pride, all of it. And then be able to have the consciousness to go, okay, if I take this action, it's going to have this effect on other people. It's the opposite of what the giants do. The giants take action and without any awareness of anybody else. They have no empathy. They just bite people's heads off, or grab this, or steal that, or crush that, or destroy that, or kill that. And Thor says, no, act on your instincts with consciousness. That's what the East is all about. 3, it comes to me. So that's where we're at when we get to the third aspect of the spell of the 9 knots. Again, if you're new to this, you can go to thunderwizard.com, and there you can sign up for the Manifestation Mastery course. I just finished making a video about the actual ritual that I do, the whole syncretic thing. I don't talk a lot about it. I just tell you exactly what to do to make it happen. So go there, sign up for the Manifestation Mastery course, and you can see that. You can also go to courses.thunderwizard.com, and you can get the DVD for the spell of the 9 knots. And the books, of course. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, the 9 worlds and all that, all of my books you can find at courses.thunderwizard.com. Just look through the links and you'll see the link for my books. All right, so it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of questions here, and that's what we're here to do, is to answer questions. So let me get this out of the way. What happened there? Oh, that's the thunder wheel. I want to get rid of this. There we go. And I'll see if there are any questions. This is a question and answer. We only have 15 people on. That's because the rest of the world is asleep right now. And there's no questions on there. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to put on, if you don't ask me questions, I'm going to sell you stuff. So if you guys, those of you who have issues with me selling products and making this my business, ask me questions, and then I won't be trying to sell you things. So while I'm waiting for waiting for any questions that might come up, let's take a look at the most powerful energy practice in my understanding that can be taught on video. Anything else must be done in person if you're going to get any more powerful than this. This is Celestial Qigong. So take a look at that, and I'll be back. Hi, I'm Michael Denny of SpiritTao.com. And this is Celestial Negung Part 1. Celestial Negung means that this is power that is descending from heaven. And the idea is that we are all microcosms of the entire universe. You are the entire universe, and everything around you is simply the projection. You are looking within yourself. So when you look up into the stars at night, you're actually looking deep within your own body. When you look at the sun, the moon, the trees, the flowers, you're looking within yourself. This is Negung. And so what we're doing is we're simply releasing that infinity from within us. You are tapping into and releasing the power that is within our own body, our own cells, our own organs. So one of the reasons that I'm making this DVD is in the hope that the essence and the spirit of the teaching of the Shang Qing arts can be taught to the world at large, and it is my hope that the core essence of what the Shang Qing tradition is will continue to live and grow and evolve. As we move on into the Aquarian age, everything is changing. I don't need to tell you that. The entire world is changing, and what we are seeing now is that if people hold on to external things, they are very challenged in life. And those who are making the transition into the next phase that we are moving into in the world as we approach 2012, those who look within and find their source of strength from within, those are the people who are getting the most out of life and will make the transition into the next phase of evolution most comfortably. It is my belief that the Shang Qing tradition is one method whereby human beings can evolve into the next level of being in the most comfortable fashion and be able to take advantage of the rapid, energetic, mental, and spiritual changes that are going on in the world today. Okay, we're back. So yeah, I guess I should I make a new video? Coming July 2009, I keep, it's just anyway. 10 years ago we put that together. I put that together, there's no we, I put that together. And let's see, I'm trying to get is this what I want? That's what I want. I want the links back up. All right, so I don't see any questions, do I? Here's a question. Jamie Turner. Will Celestial Qigong awaken Kundalini? Jamie Turner, you're new to my channel, I'm assuming? So if you go onto my channel, let me do this, it gets annoying to me. But if you can go to my channel page, the page on YouTube that has the thunderwizard.com channel page. Like if you go and type in on YouTube Thunder Wizard, my channel page link will come up. Go onto my channel page. You'll see down, let me just get it up so I say it correctly here, because sometimes I'm not saying it completely accurately. So let me just do that. So, all right, I'll just do what I just said, Thunder Wizard. I just go to Thunder Wizard, and first thing that comes up, thunderwizard.com. It's got my happy smiling face with my sunglasses. You click on that, so you can get to my thunderwizard.com page. Now, beneath the name thunderwizard.com, it has home, videos, playlists, community channels, about. Next to about is a magnifying glass. And if you click on that magnifying glass, up comes a search bar. In that search bar, you can put any phrase or word that you want to search within my channel. It frustrates me because I tell people almost every time exactly how to do that. And somebody emailed me and said, I can't find it. I tried to type it into YouTube and I couldn't find it. Of course you can't find it through YouTube. YouTube has 750 trillion channels. You have to listen to what I say and go to my channel. So the point is, you're asking me about Kundalini, and I have many videos about what Kundalini is. You're coming to this question with an assumption, and that's why I'm not responding to it directly, because your assumption in that is that Kundalini is something that you need and that you want. And my question to you is, how do you know that? How do you know what Kundalini is? What is it that you think you're going to get from it? So before I answer your question, Jamie, I want for you to write in here, since we don't have a lot of people, I want you to write in here what you think Kundalini is going to do for you. And then I will answer your question. But first part of my question is, you can watch my channel hours and hours and hours about what Kundalini is and how to awaken it and all that good stuff. All right? So I'm waiting for that. You tell me what it is you want to get from Kundalini, what you think Kundalini is and what you're going to get from it. Jeannie Griffin, I don't know what she's talking about there. Yes, please, every time you repeat it on your podcast, I follow it. I don't know what you're talking about. So, no questions about that. There's another thing in your question, Jamie Turner, that I want to point out. Look, people, if you want to learn from me, understand the kind of teacher I am. I am a thunder wizard. So thunder is Jupiter retrograde. When Jupiter turns retrograde, it becomes the lightning god. So the lightning god is not here to sit and give you the, if you do this and the bliss of life will come to you. This is not what the lightning god does. The lightning god says, hey, what is that? What is that I'm seeing in you? I'm seeing some imbalance in you that needs to be awakened. I'm seeing some unconsciousness that needs to be brought to your awareness. So I learn a lot from people's questions. And you tell me a lot about yourself with your question. So the best way to awaken Kundalini, that in and of itself is a problematic question. It means that you don't understand the process to awaken anything, to achieve anything. Why does there have to be a best way? What is the best way for you? May not be the best way for me. See what I mean? So you said, I'm hoping to have a more transcendent experience and to know more about the truth of reality. And so you have come to the conclusion that Kundalini will do that for you. So there's some truth to that. Kundalini is probably not what you think it is. And Kundalini is probably not going to give you what you think it will give you. People talk about Kundalini awakening. But if you look on YouTube, you'll also see the horrors of Kundalini awakening. You'll see Kundalini psychosis. And that is one of the videos I have. What is the difference between Kundalini awakening and Kundalini psychosis? So people can stimulate Kundalini and end up having Kundalini psychosis, which means they go insane. They think they're God, or they think they're the devil, or they think they're better or worse. Or, you know, I mean, I've run into people who tell me, yes, I've awakened my Kundalini, and they start telling me these crazy visions that they've had, and I became God, and it was too much, and I couldn't handle it. No, you did not become God. That is not what happened. Kundalini is the force in the spinal column that has to do with human, not spiritual, but human psychological awareness, evolution, and maturity. So the only thing that happens when one's Kundalini is completely awakened, which by the way, it has to come all the way up to the top, then it has to turn around and go all the way back down to the bottom. When it has made that loop and gone and broken through all the chakras, both up and coming down, then a person can say they are fully human. And that's the best you get. Kundalini is a natural process. So you're asking me about a method, an external method to stimulate Kundalini, as though your Kundalini isn't already being stimulated all the time. Life itself will stimulate Kundalini. So will celestial Qigong awaken Kundalini? That tells me you don't understand what Qigong is. A lot of people don't. And Qigong can stimulate Kundalini, but Qi and Kundalini are two different things. So the thing about Qi is that to get powerful with life force energy, you actually have to do the work. That's why it's called Qigong. Like if you want to be super strong and be, the strongest person in the world, you have to go to the gym and lift weights. You'll only be so strong if you just walk around and not do anything. Qigong is the same way. You'll only have so much life force energy unless you do the work to expand it and empower it. That's what Qigong is. Kundalini is about becoming a fully evolved human. And so life is the best. You want to know the best way to awaken Kundalini is to live your life in a conscious way. Learn to be conscious. This is why meditation awakens Kundalini, because meditation allows you to see yourself objectively and to become conscious of all of the things in your unconscious mind. So I could go deeper, but I wanted to sort of dispel the myth about if I awaken Kundalini, I'll be able to see things better. And what you're really saying is that there's something else, there's something more than you want besides what you said here, having a more transcendent experience. The question is, why do you want that? What is it about your current experience that is unpleasant or unacceptable that you need to have a more transcendent experience? See, my experience with most people nowadays, when they want to practice esoteric spirituality like Kundalini, is that they're trying to escape something about their life that is unpleasant. They feel out of control, they feel limited, they don't like, what does knowing the truth of existence, how does that make your life better? There's something about that you want that will make you feel better, or you wouldn't be seeking after it. I'm far more interested in looking at those things than in just go do this, go do that. Because if I say go do this and it'll awaken your Kundalini, and you go do that, and then you find out, oh, I've awakened my Kundalini, I'm still feeling those same limitations. I'm still sad, I'm still lonely, I'm still afraid. Kundalini isn't a magic fix. You have within you all of those things. So I'm not trying to tell you not to seek it out. It's just those are the things I hear in questions. And I'm always going to go after the truth of somebody's question about which has to do with their experience of their essence than necessarily the question. And that's not always true. So Jeannie Griffin says, question, can I do Hool with it? Please write out full questions. I'm assuming you mean, can you do the Hool breath? If you're not familiar with the Hool breath, anybody who hasn't done it, you can go search for this anywhere and you'll find it. The Hool breath, H-U-U-L breath. That is the basic spiritual teaching and practice that we can do in this path. This will get you directly connected to the Mother Goddess, Mother Hulda. And if you want to be initiated into the Thunder Path, that is the way to do it, and it's free and available to anybody who wants it. Just practice it. So can you do the Hool breath with it? Yeah, but why? You're already speaking, if you're talking about the spell of the 9 knots, why are you needing to do the Hool breath? You're already speaking a chant and you're already speaking the runes, so why are you complicating it? If you want to do the Hool breath before, feel free to do it before. As I've said, if you do Qigong, like if you do celestial Qigong, the Hool breath is one of the celestial Qigong practices, by the way. If you do the Hool breath before you do the spell of the 9 knots, it will empower it even more. And there's no reason why you can't do it afterwards, but why would you want to do it during it? You don't have time. You're already doing other things. Jeannie Griffin, you asked, should I make a new one of the Qi movements and can add the Hool technique also? It's rough trying to write on a phone with every word changed on the autocorrect. I apologize. Well, it annoys me that people are using phones. It doesn't cost a lot to actually get a computer. You don't have to get like the most fancy, Apple. It annoys me. I have to tell you, this is an old fart thing. It annoys me that people have to use their phone for everything. It's just a fucking phone, man. Actually sit down and look at a screen. Yeah. So that excuse doesn't change the fact that I can't understand your question. And if the point is to communicate with me, this is what I mean. You know, the kids these days, of course, my parents are saying the same things about me when I was a kid. Kids these days, they don't put time and effort and pay attention. You know, put effort. If communicating with me is important to you and learning from me is important to you, then put the time and effort into doing it right. You know, you don't have to be sitting on a bus stop looking at your phone all the time. You know, put some effort into it. Anyway, having said that, who knows where you are when this popped up. But anyway, that annoys me. It's not an excuse. It doesn't explain away your inability to actually put effort into writing something. You know, that's not, in other words, it's not my fault that you're choosing to do this on your phone. Right? That's what I'm trying to say. Computer is packed for a move. All right. Well, all right. I'm just being cranky then. That's it. I don't see any more questions here, so I'm not going to take up any more of your time. And as I said before, let's go over the links. These links are here for a reason. Don't email me. People keep emailing me with questions. Don't email me with pointless questions. If you haven't put the time into looking at the links, then I have other things to do. The rune certification, we're talking about runes. If you want to become certified to do rune readings, and if you want to be on my website as a certified rune reader, and if you want, you can create your own business that way. I'm not guaranteeing, you know, any kind of money, but if you want a platform from which you can make some money, you can become a certified rune reader with me. For that, you can go to runecertification.thunderwizard.com. You will learn everything that I have put onto video. Every single video that I've made about runes, free, paid, subscription, will all be at runecertification.thunderwizard.com. runereadings.thunderwizard.com if you want to get a rune reading. And I do a very specific kind of rune reading, which is the 9-world rune reading. It's the most comprehensive reading on yourself, and we look at the 9 aspects of yourself. There's not just 9 worlds out there. There are 9 worlds in here. You have 9 aspects to your personality. So those rune readings, we do that. Of course, thunderwizard.com is the best way to support the channel. If you want me to continue, you know, if you would like to see me do videos on a daily basis, I would like that. I would like to not have to deal with other ways to make money. You know, I have clients and I love working with clients. I will continue to work with clients till I die. But I would like to be in a position where I don't have to work with clients. And one way that could accomplish is if I get enough people subscribed to my Patreon channel. And you will have access to all different teachings there, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of teaching that you cannot find anywhere else, but you can't find on the free YouTube channel. Very specific things. And one of them is the specific ritual we're talking about here. I tell you exactly how to do it. So you can go to thunderwizard.com and subscribe at whatever level you want. If you want to see everything that I offer, you go to courses.thunderwizard.com. Books, videos, DVDs, certifications, services, who knows what else, energy healing, and there's all kinds of stuff on there. There's more than I can shake a stick at. And of course, subscribe, hit the bell button. All right, unless there's any more questions, which I doubt. Nope, I don't see any more questions. And Jeannie doesn't have Wi-Fi. Well, sorry about that. So you're right. I mean, there are instances where, but you know, yours is a unique situation. But there's no shortage of people that are just too lazy to get off their phones, and it just drives me crazy. You know. Anyway, that's not your fault. All right. So that's it for me, my friends. I will see you next time.